maybe, like I said, his heart rate was so slow, and
Yeah.
people would say, "Oh, well, he's a young guy, he's athletic." Blah blah. No, that's not the deal.
Yeah.
His heart rate's always been 38 to 40. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sure.
And so they don't really know. I think they would end up putting a pacemaker in him and all kind of other
Mhm.
stuff. And he
Yeah.
did have seizures, and he wasn't maybe one or two a year. I mean, we seem to have it under control. It
Hmm.
was
Mhm.
just kind of out of the blue. So I don't.
When
Um,
he had his seizures, was he taking like Tegretol or Dilantin?
no, he was on Keppra. And
Mhm.
Okay.
Keppra is an old med, but it is cheap and it is good.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it did fine. It worked fine for him.
Yeah.
Completely fine for him.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it was just, I mean, he was all happy. He was going to go. Some people we
Yeah.
knew were coming in town. They promised him taking to play golf. He was all happy. Just we
Yeah.
were all happy that night, and he just went to bed and didn't wake up the next morning. It was horrible.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
it's 9:20. He's not up yet. So
and that happens, and I don't understand
Right.
why.
no.
I don't get it. Charlie went to sleep and never woke up. That's another one.
Well,
Mhm.
people, I'm being a nurse for so long. People usually die 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when
Mhm.
your rhythm gets so low or something. Your oxygen levels change, and like older people, that's when they usually die, is early in the morning in the
Mhm.
hospitals and stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
what
mean,
happened to my father.
yeah,
Mhm.
Sam,
that's
are you
easy enough.
there?
Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
sure can, Sam.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess we're having problems with the camera,
All
but my
right, listen,
audio is up, so I
that's
can see
okay.
y'all. Huh?
Sam, listen to me. It's okay.
It's
Okay.
It's
okay.
it's if you get it working, that's great. But we got to go on the
Yes.
air. It's 7 o'clock.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I'm ready.
Um,
Mhm. Yes.
so I'm
Hi,
going to
Karen.
do now
Hey,
is
honey, how are you?
Doing
yeah,
good.
Karen's here.
Mhm.
Karen's here, of course.
Mhm.
Hey,
Um,
it took him an hour to get me on there today, so
well, I'll tell you what. We're
I
gonna
told
we're,
Sam
we're
last
gonna
night I was
open up the
technology
show.
challenged.
Mhm.
We're gonna open up the show old school. Okay, so
Yes.
Okay.
All
everybody,
right.
have a moment of silence for a moment. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to WWTF Radio. I'm Mad Dog DeCipio, joined as I am each and every week by Amelia the Pitbull Chapman tonight. A very somber, very special edition of the Roundtable tonight. We pay homage and we say goodbye to our dear friend Charlie Thunderblood Norris. To help us do that are two people who knew them probably the best in this
Mhm.
entire world. Karen McDaniel, who was Charlie's friend, but more so her husband Wahoo was Charlie's mentor, and that went a long way with Charlie,
Mhm.
and it went a long way with Wahoo McDaniel. Karen, welcome to the show, my dear.
Thank you as always, Angelo.
Yes.
It's
Welcome.
Karen's. She's. I want to say that she's like a part of the furniture here, but yeah, she really is part of our family. I
Well, you
remember.
hey, you put me on the spot several times, so go ahead.
I also got you hooked up with a hell of a book deal, baby.
Yeah, you sure did. You got me the right guy to do it. I will say
Yes,
that. Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
And joining us as well this evening, Mr. Sam Houston. Sam not only was a lifelong friend of Charlie Norris, but his tag partner in the world of the rapid fire world of pro wrestling. We'll call it that. Sam, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with the fans some of this stuff. I didn't know, but when you live the life, you think everybody knows what you're doing all the time anyway. You don't think they got to be told. But a lot of people don't know the good things that Charlie and I did, and some
Yeah.
of the things that we fought against and won. Just a lot of good stuff. And Charlie was an amazing man. He's my tag team partner for life.
Mhm.
And I just want to go on and honor his name.
Well, I appreciate that, Sam. We're going to have a lot of
Mhm.
storytelling tonight. Karen, how did you come to know Charlie Norris?
Well, I knew of Charlie, and then he and I would talk a lot over the time, and he came down to visit after we lost Nolan, and I will say this, and I meant to tell you this, Sam. Zach got real emotional about Charlie dying. He and Zach hung around my oldest son, the only one
Right.
I have left, um, a little bit here while he was here, and he was very emotional about it. He cried to me. He said, "I really hit it up with that guy. I really
Mhm.
felt good with that guy." It was like, and to me that means a lot for him to have somebody that
Yeah.
knew the industry, knew the business y'all did, and to feel that warm with him. Actually, he gave him a Jets or Dolphins baseball card of his dad's,
Yeah.
and I think that really heartwarmed Charlie a lot. But there was a real connection there, and it
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
upset him.
He was the
But-
kind of guy we got to know Charlie in a very different way on this show here. One
Yeah.
of the things we had a rule.
Mhm.
Charlie laid down the law. Here's what he said. I'll do your show, Angelo, anytime you want, but there's one stipulation.
Mhm.
I will never talk about wrestling. I said, you're in, baby. You're
Yep.
in. That's it. You're in.
Yep.
But we did. Look, everybody knows our show, Wrestling with the Future,
Mhm.
and it's
Yes.
a part of history now.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we
Okay.
converted Wrestling with the Future into the WWTF radio network.
Mhm.
So we
Mhm.
kept our initials and we kept our name. One of the things that I never did was I never had Charlie on Wrestling with the Future as a guest, and
Weren't
perhaps that might
weren't
be. Go ahead, Karen.
weren't we on with you one time? And it was Wrestling in the Future, me and you and Charlie.
It was you and I. Charlie wasn't on it.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, it was you and I and John Cosper.
Okay. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
Charlie,
Yeah, it was
Charlie used to
John.
like to do subtle things,
Mhm.
to make a point.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking that him not wanting to discuss wrestling business or anything like that, he wanted to focus his attention on the issues that mean the most to him today. Like,
yeah.
our elderly, our families, our children. Look at all the stuff that's going on. I know he was a big advocate
Mhm.
about all the fentanyl and all that stuff
Hmm.
coming in and how it was killing all the kids and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So Kim
Oh,
and
we
I,
spoke about that too, Sam. Yeah,
Mhm.
we
Kim and
sure
I,
did.
well, when we made our trip up to Minnesota and everything, I reconnected with a whole lot of family, a whole lot of friends. His family is my family too. I was
Absolutely.
adopted into his family
Oh,
into the '90s. Well, two boys that we trained back then they were brothers. They were Mike and Robbie Thunder, and together we
Mhm.
were called Thunder Nation. So we're getting ready to kick off a Thunder Nation Foundation to look after the elderly, the veterans of
Beautiful.
foreign wars, the VFW, and have a positive message, and maybe a go-to thing for kids that are coming up
Aw.
that get confused or get lost along the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what happens is deception steps in and takes what you're focused on away, and now you're on another trail, you know.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I know these things worried him, and I know these things were something that he would like to continue, and we're going to do it.
I think
Amelia,
Yes.
I introduced Charlie to you. He took to you right away.
Mhm.
You and Charlie had a very special relationship. Give me, a couple of bullet points. Your relationship with Charlie Thunderblood.
We would just, talk about, his he would love to be around kids. He liked to be their mentor, and also just, you know, he told me one time, he says, just make sure that when we talk, you will message me on Facebook or because I want to learn how to use this damn phone. He said, because he said, I do not know how to use the technology, but,
Yeah.
and then
He
he's like,
sent you, if I'm not mistaken, Amelia, he sent you
hmm
an interesting cartoon picture.
yes.
Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, he said this person out of the blue just sent me this really nice cartoon that of me, and he was a real big fan of mine, and he said, I just love this cartoon, and I want to make this into a T-shirt. I was just so excited. I can't believe this. Can
Yeah.
you look at this? And I said, oh my God, I love this. And I said,
Well,
I'm gonna
maybe I'll
save
get
this.
some. I'm thinking about getting some of those made and taking
Hmm
them up to the powwow up there in
Yes.
July.
hmm
Sam, do you have that photo, Sam? The picture of the what
It's
Amelia was
on my
talking about?
phone now. Yeah,
hmm
Pitbull sent it to me a little bit earlier, so
hmm
we're
Oh,
gonna do something
beautiful,
with it.
hmm
You
beautiful.
know,
Yes.
Yeah, because we were talking about that. I said we got to make this happen for Charlie. We
Yes.
got to
yeah.
get these shirts made.
Yeah. He wanted to make that into a T-shirt so
Oh, we're
badly.
going to.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of that. We've got a
Oh,
guy already.
Sam says he'll do it. He'll do
Hmm
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's going to happen.
Yeah, because he said, I'm going to send you a T-shirt. I said, I hope so.
Yeah.
You better send me that
I
T-shirt.
want to surprise you guys. Karen and Sam. There's
Yes.
one thing besides the social issues
hmm
that Sam that Charlie loved to talk about, and it may surprise you greatly.
hmm
He loved coming on this show to talk about conspiracy theories
Yes.
Oh,
He,
and
yeah.
Bigfoot and
hmm
UFOs
hmm
and is there a secret government
Yes.
and
Yes.
you know
hmm
Yes. If you look at the
aliens.
scoreboard right now, it's conspiracy theory
hmm
17.
Yes.
What they've told us, mainstream media, is
hmm
zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loved that kind of stuff. We
hmm
have in fact, it's funny, Amelia. I'm
hmm
not even going to say nothing. I want you to tell the story. The
About.
night that we did
Uh-huh.
the UFO show when he was
Mhm.
driving, you tell
Yeah.
everybody what the hell happened.
He was driving, and then he's like, "Okay, look." He goes, I'm getting home." He goes, "I." He just stopped at the store to get some cigarettes. He goes, "I'm gonna go home right now, and as soon as I get home, I'm gonna plug in my phone, and I will. I promise, I will be right back in and join you in the studio."
You gave them the PG version. Give them the Charlie version.
Yeah.
The
He goes,
Charlie version was, I don't know how to work this fucking thing. I'm going to get home. I'm going to figure it out. And I might be back on. Well, he never did show
he
up,
goes,
and
"I'll
that
be
meant
right." No, he said, "I'll be fucking back on."
I'll be fucking yes. That's what he said. That's why I said don't give them the PG version. Give them the Charlie version.
Yeah. Well, you got to
Absolutely.
remember, man, we're old athletes,
Right.
and
Yeah.
a computer in the palm of your hand.
hmm
We've been hit in the head with a lot of steel chairs,
Well, he
you
always
know.
said he never liked me to
Absolutely.
curse. Remember?
Sam, how did you and Charlie Norris, oh Thunderblood, how did you and he connect? How
Well,
long ago were you friends first?
here's
Did you?
what happened. I guess he had trained under Eddie Sharkey and those guys. They're
Mhm.
up in Minneapolis, and I was working for Vince at the time, and we did a TV taping in Savannah, Georgia, and they had brought Charlie in for his tryout, and guess who he had to wrestle? Me.
You.
Yeah. So first
Yep.
of all, I know his feet were killing him because uh, he had moccasins, and they
Ah.
gave him Jay Strongbow's old wrestling boots with the fringe on them,
Oh
and
my
they're size
God.
12 or so. And Charlie
Oh.
wore a 14 or. And
Yeah.
so
Oh.
his toes were all cramped up and the whole 9 yards. And he was nervous. Well, anyway, he buried his thumb about knuckle deep into my eye, you
Oh,
Oh.
know. So
Oh.
when that happened, well, sure enough, I've got to protect myself and go ahead and get on out of here and save this thing. So I
Mhm.
took it home. And
yeah.
he come back and he was so apologetic. Well, he made such a big fuss. I wasn't saying anything. He made
Yeah.
such a big fuss about being apologetic
Mhm.
that a couple of the road agents saw it, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
then they must have thought, okay, this guy's not careful or something.
Yeah.
So that's the last I saw of him. And then, I kept, I wrestled for Vince and them. My contract ended up, I left them in 91, went back to WCW, wrestled there. I had some stuff happen in my life with my family, my wife, split up, break up in my marriage.
Hmm.
Well, 3 months after the breakup, I was wrestling one man gang in Roanoke, Virginia,
Hmm.
and Sullivan was his manager. I don't know if it was one man gangs club in forearm or Sullivan with the tire iron, but along the way I ended up with three blown discs in my neck.
Oh.
I woke up the next morning. I was partially paralyzed on the left side of my body. My life was in shambles. Anyway, I go out to L.A. This doctor looked at me, Dr. Irving Schaffner, took
Mhm.
my case, and he worked on me from 7:30 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, 5 days a week. All these things, and got me back on my feet in 9 months. Well, the Northridge earthquake hit, and I re-injured myself knocking doors down, getting people out.
Hmm.
Um, I'm down for another 6 months. Well, uh, Dr. Schaffner got me on my feet again. I fly out to Atlanta to visit my dad. He was working for WCW.
Yeah.
I get there, I see my dad, and I go to the TV taping with him that night. Well, my dad was back in the back, and I was by the just talking to all the boys. My career was over. And I'm just talking with the boys and stuff. And Dusty come up to me and he told me, he said, "You need to get your dad to the hospital now. Something's wrong." So
Yeah.
I took my dad to the hospital, and his stomach had shut down. So
Ooh.
they ended up having to do emergency surgery, remove his stomach, replace it with part of make a new stomach out of part of his large intestine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, staph infection set in.
Oh
Oh.
God.
And
Mm.
when the staph infection set in, when it geysered out, I was right there. Well, I had the doctor show me how to do everything, how to clean the
Mhm.
wound. I could stick my finger probably about 3 inches down inside his guts,
Mhm.
and the incision was 9 inches. It was huge. And they said, but they called it a superficial wound. So I was bringing my dad back to the hotel
Mhm.
because we lived there at the Ramada
Superficial.
Inn.
Oh.
And as I'm bringing my dad in, he wanted to stop at the front desk and get his mail.
Mhm.
So we're walking to the front desk, and here's this big Indian dude, 6'6", 295. I mean, just big. And as we walk in, he goes, "Sam Houston." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You remember me?" And I was like, "No." He said, "You whipped my ass at my New York tryout about 4 years ago." I'm going, "Oh my God, this guy, he wants to fight." And so I'm sitting my dad at the front desk, and Charlie instead helped me take my dad to the front, I mean, to his room. He helped me change the wadding. My dad wouldn't take anything for pain. He helped me.
Mm.
He held my dad down where I could put that Caldestat,
Mm.
what they use for bullet
Yeah.
wounds and stuff. So
Mhm.
anyway, then after we did that, we went back to the bar, and we had a couple of drinks. And he told me that he had signed a contract at the power plant, and he told me about what was going on over there. And I'm thinking to myself, that's no way to train somebody, because when I broke in, I mean, I got in the ring twice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then after that,
Mhm.
so I'm thinking to myself, this is stupid. So I went the next day, and we got in the ring, and we blew everybody away. So
Mm-hmm.
as
Yeah.
long as I was there, everything was cool with him. So I started working out every day. Well, 3 months later, he got me. He told me, he said, "Man," he goes, "I'm giving you everything I got when we get out there." He said, "And I can't do nothing with you." He said, "I can't do nothing with you, you know."
Yeah.
And 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 I told him my career was over. I said, I would consider it if it was in tag matches.
Sam, I have a piece of film here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I hope you will. But I have a piece of film here. This is Charlie Norris's television debut in
Oh wow.
WCW.
Oh, cool.
Take a look at this.
Welcome back to the main event here on TBS. I am standing here with one of the hottest newcomers in WCW in a long, long time. Native American Charlie Norris. Charlie, welcome. What are your plans, my man?
Michael PSAs, thank you very much. I'm fired up. I'm in WCW, the #1 wrestling organization in the world, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to chop my way to the top. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to take care of business tonight, Michael Hayes, and I'm going to soar like an eagle.
All right, brother. Well, I'll tell you what, when you talk about chopping to the top, a lot of us Braves fans could really relate. And speaking about relating, check out the Z20.
That was Charlie's television debut on WCW.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's cool. So
How old was
Charlie
he?
helped me with
Michael
he helped me with my
Right.
dad. I'm sorry. He helped me with my dad. Well, after 3 months, he said you need to be in a tag. Or I said I'd do it in a tag situation. He said, "Well, what about your brother, Jake?" And I said, "Jake would feed me to the wolves." And then we talked about it, and he said, "I'll do it." And I said, "Charlie, I gotta know that if something happens to me, that you're gonna come in the ring and kill everybody."
Yep.
And he said he'd do it. And you know what? That just about happened in Dallas. We beat up a team so bad that they threw all their
Sam,
gear
hold on.
away.
Sam, hold on, Sam. I know that story. Before you tell it, let me warn anybody watching, remove the small children from the room. Go ahead, Sam.
No, it wasn't that bad. Anyway, I guess Booker T and Ahmed Johnson had a school in Houston a while back. And they trained these big guys. And these two big guys were just almost as big as Booker T and Ahmed and the whole 9 yards, where they sent them up to the sportatorium to work a TV taping. And I'm not sure if these guys were ready, but they're in the office and they're telling it. They're dressed like scary dudes, gang members and stuff. And one of them's got a great big weed leaf on his shirt, which is cool. But he's got the weed, and but he's telling the TV producer he's going to portray a positive role model for children with a bandana tied back. I'm sitting here.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so we go out there. They got to wrestle us. So we go out there, and it's a TV tape, and then you're giving it all you got and everything else. Well, I ended up a bulldog the one guy, but when a bulldog, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up about 3/4 of the way out of the ring, and I'm stuck, I'm trapped, so I'm trying to get out of there. And Charlie, when he saw the collision, he knew I was hurt, and
Oh.
right away he knew exactly what I wanted to. And when I come up, I holler, "Give me the boot," because that's the first thing I taught him in WCW. He needed something devastating, so I taught him that big kick.
Yeah.
Anyway, Charlie kicked that guy. Now, when you're thinking about, the ring, that sportatorium ring was 20 by 20, but when you go diagonally, it's more like 22 feet,
Yeah.
Charlie kicked that fella on our side of the ring. He flew all the way over to the other side, hit, and then slid underneath, and his head hit the ring post.
Oh
my
God.
goodness.
So I had to grab him by the feet and then pull him back in the ring and cover
Yeah.
it. 1, 2, 3, it's over. Me and Charlie get out of the ring. We go back and we shower, and we're in our dressing room, just having doing what the boys do.
Yeah.
So now we're all cleaned up. Now it's time to go get paid and get out of there. So we walk through the little maze at the sportatorium and get to the office. And the lady gives us our money and stuff, and she asks if we know where them other guys are. And we were, "What other guys?" "Well, the 2 guys y'all wrestled." And I said, "No." She said, "All I know is a cab pulled up. And they didn't pick up their money." And me and Charlie are just kind of looking at each other, don't know what's going on as we're walking back through that maze. And all of a sudden we hear Sputnik Monroe's son, Bubba Monroe, the Cajun brawler, who passed not too long ago also. Oh, he was one of the best workers in the business too that never got a shot. But he said, he goes, "Oh Lord, look here, my God, all this brand new wrestling gear." He had two brand new pair of boots, two pairs of knee pads, all that stuff. Those guys had come out of the ring, threw all their gear away, got a cab, and went back to the airport and got out of the business for good.
Didn't even take their
That's
stuff. They didn't get
funny.
their stuff or anything.
Huh?
They didn't take their stuff.
No,
Their
but that's
gear.
what Bubba
Oh
Monroe
my
was
God!
happy. He was in heaven.
Yeah, that's why I know that story. They left the building, they left their money behind, they
Yeah.
left their gear behind, they left everything behind. They got in
Yeah.
a cab and took off.
Oh
Scared him
yeah.
away.
They did. Oh no, they got the hell out of Dodge.
Oh yeah.
Sam, talk about the sportatorium a minute. They tell me that the ring there was permanently cemented in place. Is that
It
true?
wasn't
Yes.
cemented. The posts were driven into the ground. Matter of fact, I have it. Well, I can't show you the picture, but I have it on the wall here. I'm the last human being ever to stand in the original Sportatorium ring because I'm the guy that tore it down for CWA to come in and put a concrete floor on and put a movable
Oh,
ring. But that ring
gotcha.
used to be the stage for Elvis Presley and Waylon Jennings and
Yeah.
Willie Nelson down with the oh gosh, the hayrides and the country music shows that
Hmm.
were there. But those posts were okay. There was underneath the ring, it was on the outside. There was oh gosh, wood flooring.
Right.
Underneath the ring was a drop off. You had four posts, and there was like a 6 foot drop off to hard dirt again, and the posts were driven 6 feet into the ground after that. So those posts were
Wow.
like damn near 30 feet long.
Good
That's what
Lord.
I heard. That was
Well,
crazy.
I wish
Yeah.
Angela, I wish you could see Sam because he has such a nice setup that he does these things on. I don't know if you talked to him before, but and you can't get him to shut up either. He's just like you. Uh,
She
I
knows
love
you
you,
very well,
Karen.
Angela.
Amelia, when
I
I've been
love
on
you too,
before,
Karen.
well, that no, that's a good thing, Amelia. When I've
Yes,
been
ma'am.
on here before, I've had to tell him, "Shut up, Angela. You keep interrupting me."
I love her already.
Oh, Karen's the greatest. She's part of the family too. There's part, I guess, in the wrestling business, when people connect like we do, they become family. It's a
Oh, yes.
stronger bond than a cousin or something like that.
It is.
And Karen's part of that big family.
Yeah,
I've
Sam,
known
Karen has
Wahoo
never
since I
said.
was 4 years old. He was still until the last time I saw him, he probably still asked me for the 15 cents change on the soda pop from when I was 4 years old.
Yeah,
But
I
I
heard
did
that
play
story.
the best
you've
ass
heard that story.
whipping. Can I tell you the best ass whipping or the funniest? Okay, this was a rib I pulled. I suffered the brunt of it, but it was so worth it. Okay. I rode to the matches in Spartanburg, South Carolina with Brian Adias. Jim Crockett had just turned Wahoo and made him Tully's tag team partner.
Oh God.
So we get there for the TV taping, and me and Brian Diaz have to work with Wahoo and Tully. Wahoo was an avid golfer. I mean, he golfed with the best in the world. Well, when I got in the car with Brian Diaz, he hit the trunk button. I see a set of golf clubs. I throw my Halliburton wrestling bag on, and close it. Now, I don't mess up the clubs or nothing like that. But anyway, we'll get back. So as we're going to the ring, there's 2 dressing rooms and 1 hallway, and then you go out the door. So me and Brian are walking to the ring, and Wahoo and Tully are waiting on us to go because they get the big entrance. As we're going, I stopped and I said, "Hey, Chief, I'm really sorry about that 9-iron. I'm going to get it straightened out for you." And I went onto the ring, and that man did that walk. I saw the shaking in his ankles. That man chopped me to death, beat my ass, and every time he hit me, he was giving me but it was just I was laughing so hard and bouncing up and taking another one. But finally, I told him, he's like, "Good kid." But when it really came down to it, he had my back when Angelo Mosca started messing with me and stuff. Wahoo
Yeah.
wasn't going to let that stand, and I got to pull my rib on Mosca, and Mosca conceded and put the young kid over.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, do
Well,
you know anything about a? You're talking about a rib here. You reminded me of a story I heard a long time ago. Do you know anything about Wahoo taking a bear or some bear fur? You know what I'm talking about? Or a deer? Maybe it was a deer. Um. Oh man.
No, I don't. That doesn't bring
that
back any memories. I'm not saying it didn't happen because that
Was
okay.
something
He
about
talked us out of a speeding ticket. No, a running a red light ticket to a cop.
That'd be
We
funny.
run the red light, and we'd been drinking the whole 9 yards. And he told the cop that he had the red light hung too high. It was the town's fault. Then we signed a couple
Oh,
autograph
that's too
pictures, and we
funny.
went on the road.
Oh, that would be funny.
uh,
Karen? Did Wahoo ever tell you a story about him taking a dead deer and putting it in the dressing room at one of the arenas? That's
no,
the story I'm referring to.
no. He,
I don't recall
I,
that. Now I know the Freebirds put a dead possum in Buddy Roberts' wrestling bag.
Oh,
He had three
Oh
days
shit!
off.
I wouldn't be surprised
Oh
what
He
you
went
guys did on the
home,
road.
dropped his wrestling bag off in the spare room. When he hit the road 3 days later, he brought it, got in the dressing room in New Orleans, unzipped the bag, and everybody threw up.
oh
Oh,
Oh God!
no.
So Karen, let me bring you into the conversation over here.
Only problem.
Um,
Wahoo.
so we're talking about a guy who touched a lot of people's lives in some very great and profound ways. He was
Mhm.
always a gentleman, always kind, funny as shit. Charlie was a
Oh
funny
yeah,
guy.
oh
Yeah.
yes.
He
we
was a
always had a
funny
blast.
guy.
Hmm.
Um, and he had a real unique sense of loyalty. He was incredibly loyal to people.
Mhm.
Karen, can you explain that loyalty to me? And
I,
why doesn't it exist anymore?
I don't know why it doesn't exist anymore. I think it's their people. I think they're brought up that way or something like that. Because Wahoo and Sam can tell you this. He didn't like people treating people bad. He didn't want
Hmm.
anybody to be the underdog, and he'd beat the shit out of you if you ever treated anybody bad. And
Hmm.
I think it's the way they're brought up. I really think it has something to do with their culture, you know. And well,
Well,
let's rednecks
Sam,
down here
is
or
there
out.
something to that, Sam?
well, I think that has the respect thing that does, and and you respect other people as and you treat them the way you want to be treated. But yeah, Charlie always stood up for the underdog, especially if he knew that underdog was right. I mean,
Yeah.
but there was a real love with Charlie, and you could feel it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could.
Our relationship, I think one of the things about us being a tag team is the people knew that we cared for what one another, what was going on, and he was
Yeah.
there for
Hmm.
me, and I was there for him. It was something that came to me the other day in a dream. We are each other, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And but he has feelings, and he's real. He's a
Hmm.
genuine person. He's not a character, and he's not a gimmick. He's a
Yeah.
That's
real
important.
person.
Thank you, Sam.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for pointing that out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Charlie wasn't a gimmick. Charlie was what you saw is what you got.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
Absolutely.
Amelia, I'm going to
Hmm.
do something that's going to make Karen very, very happy.
Hmm.
oh
I'm going to
Lord.
shut up and turn it over to you. Go ahead, Neil.
Yes, and I know exactly because anytime I'd ask him or we'd ask him, say, "Would you be on our show? We're going to be doing no matter what the subject was." I'd ask him, say, "Would you be on our show? This is so and so date." He'd always say yes. He would
He
never
never
say no.
told us no.
Never
Yeah.
told us no.
And
Well,
I'll
Always.
you
tell you
know,
who else never told us no.
No.
Sam Houston and Karen
Mhm.
McDaniel never told
Well,
us
that's
no.
Absolutely.
true.
well,
Absolutely.
That's true.
can I expound on that just a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, my friend. You
Okay.
got we got all night if you
Charlie and
want.
I talked about this a lot. We wrestled. We didn't get all the stuff that the guys are getting now or anything
Hmm.
like that. And we were on the independent circuit after he left WCW and the whole 9 yards. We just didn't get the breaks. But what
Hmm.
we did get was we did get to go around the world six
Mhm.
times together. You
Right.
know, we went to Japan 5 times, went to New Guinea. We were almost eaten by
Mhm.
cannibals. I mean, how many people can write that down? So we've got
Uh,
one hell of a
That's true story.
soapbox. We've got one hell of a soapbox to
Mhm.
stand on, not to preach, but to share.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
But you
and
also
the one
wrestled
thing that
when
we want
wrestling
to
was
share, because
wrestling.
we had problems in our life, was
Mhm.
as long as you have hope, you have
Yes.
something to fight for. You
yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
and you
Absolutely.
just got to find that hope in yourself. And it was up to us to want to be able to use what we've done in the professional wrestling world to give
Mhm.
us that soapbox to stand on, so we can reach people's lives in a positive way for the future. And
Mhm.
that's what we were trying to do.
Oh yes.
Well, I think that's what you have done. I mean,
Mhm.
I've seen you all through the years, and I think you certainly modeled yourself that way.
Yes.
Well,
You
I
know what?
don't
A lot
know
of it
if
has to
I'm
do
any
with too,
type
Karen.
of modeling type of thing.
Well,
Mhm.
I think they broke the mold before they modeled me.
yeah, but you modeled yourself on out to be a pretty
But you
great guy.
you know what? A
Well,
lot
thank
of
you
it
so
has
much.
to
That means
do.
so much to me. I was listening. I wasn't listening to it. Kim was uh, a podcast the other day, and I that people were just wanting to attack my family or what have you.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for me. I'm in a great place. I'm blessed. I love
Mhm.
where I'm at. I love my life. I love the positive impact that I'm able to give to people and bring to people.
Mhm.
And I cherish the relationships, and I cherish the time I've got to spend with people. Even
Good.
those I've lost, I get to cherish their memories. I get to
Mhm.
hold them right
Absolutely.
here in my heart,
Yes.
you know?
And that's why we do what we do here.
Yes.
One of the things we never want to do
Yes.
is lose sight of the sacrifices that people made, the memories people made with us and with
Uh-huh.
each other.
Well,
Yes.
let
And
me let me let
we
me expound a little bit more on our trip to Minnesota, just for the fans and stuff like that, because I want
sure.
everybody to know.
Mhm.
Now,
Uh,
this was for the service
yeah,
after.
yeah.
Yes.
When I got the phone call, and right away, Kim started working. She cleared her schedule so we could take off. We left out the next day, and I drove straight through, or we drove straight through. My poor wife. I had to let her take over for me. It was a 23 and a half hour drive. So
Mm.
I let her take over for me at like 4 o'clock in the morning, knowing I'm going to take back over. But anyway, she missed the last exit before she entered the hell that is Chicago.
Mm.
Oh
Oh
So
gosh.
yeah.
this
Oh
North
yeah, yeah.
Carolina girl had to drive through Chicago 9 o'clock early morning traffic. It took us
Oh.
2.5 hours to get through it, bumper to bumper. It was horrible,
Mm.
Oh
but
Lord.
Oh,
God bless her. She's a trooper. We got up there,
Mhm.
and Charlie and I were closer than brothers, really.
Mhm.
Uh, as I said, we were each other, and his family had left everything there for me to go through. It was my responsibility to go through his things and to give make gifts to where I know he wanted things to go,
Mhm.
and I was able to share that with people. But in going through his things, and Charlie had been he had problems with health issues and everything else, blood clots. He had pain issues. He had he worked against Vader and it blew his back out. He had a bulging disc in his lower back. I'm surprised he could even get around as good as he did. But when I got there, and it was like, I guess what everybody was so scared of. And I was in there, and I found some stuff he had. One was a VHS tape of my dad wrestling. I found his
Oh.
eagle feather. I
Mm.
found his medicine bag, and then I found his the bag with all of his medications. And I was so scared, but I went through and I counted everything. I looked at all the dates. He was not misusing his medications,
good.
Good.
and from
Mhm.
everything that I saw, he stroked out. The blood clots and everything just stroked him out and took him. And it breaks my heart, but um, I'm just so I'm not happy. I'm
Mhm.
relieved that it
He
wasn't
didn't
by his
suffer.
own hand.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
and
Mhm.
Yeah.
and me finding all that stuff, that was his way of letting me know. You know, and then he played ribs on us, trying to carry the casket to the grave. It had
Mhm.
rained, so he had us all slipping and falling and taking
Oh my
bumps
God.
and everything. So I knew he was loving that.
Mhm.
Oh
Jeez,
my
man.
But
goodness.
it was a
Mhm.
beautiful, it was a hard, very hard experience for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was very beautiful. I know I know my partner was, as soon as the lights went out, I know he was in the presence of the Lord. I know he went on his journey, and I know he's safely on the other
Mhm.
side.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah.
Let's take
I
a
know
look
his
at a.
mother took it hard. I know his
Yes.
mother had to take it. They were
Yeah.
close.
They were very close,
Very,
Oh,
very close.
absolutely.
and we'll keep going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's take a look at this little pictorial tribute we put together here.
Okay.
This, Amelia, you did a remarkable job with this.
Thank you.
That's
that is
Really good.
awesome. Hey,
Yeah.
that one black and white picture like that, I
Mhm.
love that picture, and I've always wanted to do something with that one too. If you could
yeah.
send me a good picture with that one, I'd like to do something with that too. The one where
The
he's got his war club in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
black that says WCW on it. That one.
That one.
No, 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 the other one. He's on one knee.
I think it's going to be right around here. Hold on a second. I'll find it. There it
That's
is.
That
it.
one.
That
That
one.
you want that one, Sam?
Yeah,
I have
that's
that.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's the one.
You
I
go.
like.
I will send that to you. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I
You
think I
got
sent
it.
it to you. I think
Mhm.
that to me, and I sent it to you. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah. I think actually you did that, Karen. You sent that
Yeah.
one, and you
Yeah.
sent
Mhm.
the WCW
Yeah. Yeah.
headshot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, I was going to
Absolutely.
tell you something else, and this doesn't happen, but those Rocky moments or those unforgettable moments that
Mhm.
you have in the ring. Well, we had so many of them because the people were just so involved and everything. I can't tell you; it's probably about 7 or 8 times that after we won or a big match or something like that, the ring filled up with just kids from everywhere. You know,
I bet they did.
In Gainesville, Texas, we made the front page of the newspaper.
Mhm.
There were so many people in the ring that we were trying to get people out of the ring because we were scared the ring was going to buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Yep.
but those are those moments that you get. I mean, Charlie and I, one of the things that we used to do is go to the children's hospital in Dallas, and we got it to where they could bring some of the disabled kids.
Yeah.
Because at the sportatorium
Mhm.
they had those little box
Yes.
sections.
Hmm.
With
Mhm.
the made out of like iron tubing, or at oh gosh, a cattle auction.
Mhm.
So they had little boxes like that. So we moved all the chairs out. They had like the tall bar seats there. We had to move the chairs out on one side. That way they could bring hospital beds in and
Yeah.
stuff for the kids that don't get to stay. We used to do a lot of things like that.
Sam, how is Charlie going to be remembered, in your opinion?
By those that know him, they'll hold him in the highest regard. By those that want to belittle him and try to put somebody down and make themselves feel bigger or something like that, they're going to attack. You
Hmm.
know, um,
That's the business, though, Angela.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the business. I hate to say
Yeah.
it, but it is.
Yeah.
Well, Karen, you've known him as well. So,
Mhm.
in
Yes.
your estimation, in your opinion, how do you think history will remember him?
As a big damn Indian, for one thing.
Yeah,
He was the tallest. He was the tallest real Indian that I ever saw. And secondly, there were only two real Indians anyway.
Mm.
in the
Yeah,
business that I know of. Him and Wahoo
and
McDaniel.
Wahoo, that
Yeah.
was it.
Yes,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
no, I think he'll be remembered as kind-hearted, just as Sam said. That he would be
Mhm.
the person who would go to make sure the little children got taken care of. I know they had a renegade. They were tag team as the Renegades, Sam
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Charlie, and they sent. I mean, they couldn't. As soon as Nolan saw Sam, he just ooey gooed all over him. I wish Charlie had had a chance to meet him
Well, what
too,
kind of
but they just
impact
have
did
that
he have?
nature.
What? Let's talk about that. How it affected your family directly. What kind of real impact did Charlie have on your family, on the kids?
Well, he only got to meet Zach, and as I told you, Zach was overwhelmed with grief. I mean, really,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
upset him because he just and Nolan did not get to meet him, but he knew Charlie, and he talked to Nolan on FaceTime a bunch of times, so he
Hmm.
did know him that way. But he was the kind of person that would take time with somebody like Nolan,
Yeah.
not the just he would take time and take the effort and the all of that. I anybody that does that, once you have a child that has some delays or has something, and people
Mhm.
find it in their heart to take time with them, you look at that person as a different person. I'll just say that. You
Mhm.
Well,
look
they're
at that
angels.
person as
Absolutely.
someone who's caring and
Yeah.
individualized and in their lives and certainly in mine. So I mean, I can't say more.
For
And
me,
Amelia.
Mhm.
for me, I'd like to say that he gave me my career back. My career was over, you
Yeah.
know. But look at all. I mean, I went back to work in '94. And was gonna given a contractor from Jim Barnett with WCW, and my own dad stabbed me in the back. So I blew the contract off and went out to LA when Charlie was done with his stuff. Then we got together and we started tagging, and we did really well for ourselves, and we
Yeah.
had a blast doing it,
Mhm.
and it's big and fun and everything. You'll hear a lot of stories about Sam and Charlie, but you'll never hear a story how we went out of our way to hurt somebody,
Right.
or we did anything to harm anyone at all. Now
And
there's a
that
Yeah.
few
is
times
something to
that we
say
had
about
to, when you got to stand up and you got to take matters. And there's a
Mhm.
couple times that we did take matters, but we were always in the right.
yeah. That
Mhm.
that says
Yeah.
something too. That really says something about
Absolutely.
them too. If they can go out and people say, "Well, they always treated me good," or "They always were," da da da. That means a lot.
Mhm.
Sam, when did you and Charlie return to work for PWA?
Oh gosh, that was in the '90s sometimes.
Well, like
Uh,
it would be right around if I say 93 or 94, maybe.
93, 94. Yeah, because we when we got together, we did some shows in Minnesota. I think Mitch Karch was one of the promoters. But we did some stuff with Eddie Sharkey, and then we did some things on the reservations up there. And gosh, I mean, the talent that we were wrestling Nails and One Man Gang and the Hater and
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
Wayne the Train Bloom and his tag team. I mean, the talent was unreal at the time. That what was available. We had King Kong Bundy on our shows and stuff like that. So we brought good talent in when we did something. But
Yeah.
so many times, because of the connection was there between us and the people, riots started. There was a riot in the Red Lake Reservation. There was a riot in Bemidji. We had a riot in Wisconsin. I think
Mhm.
what the Indian casino there. I mean, it used to follow us around sometimes. And
Yeah.
our big thing was try to get the other guys out of here. They're going to kill them. You know,
Yeah, they didn't want to get y'all get hurt.
Well,
so
I'll
He
tell you
told
what.
he told me about y'all having big shows up there.
oh, we
Mhm.
There
had
were
yeah
some
we
really big
when we
shows up there
brought
on
Mhm.
Bundy
Minnesota.
in, and Charlie, he always took care of the midgets.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
always brought the
Yeah.
midgets in.
Mhm.
And not because he wanted them on the, not because it was, but it was to help them guys out because
Mhm.
Yeah.
they don't get to
Yeah.
work all the time.
No.
Yeah.
You know, So we would always bring the midgets up, and then like I said, one man gang or Nails or Nord or
Mm-hmm.
whoever.
Sure.
We worked with a lot of great talent up in Minneapolis area in that side. But in
Yeah.
all the areas we went to, we worked with some good people.
Well, as we close out this tribute to Charlie Thunderblood Norris, Amelia and I have issued a joint statement. Let me read it to everyone. We put
Mm-hmm.
this out. It's with a heavy heart that we yet again do another wrestling tribute show. We lost another of our dear friends from the world of pro wrestling, and this one hit real close to home. Our friend and frequent guest, Charlie Norris. To his family and friends, all I can say is that words fail me at this time. But in your time of loss and grief, let us be clear. If there is anything, and I mean if there is anything Amelia and I and this show can do to help ease your grief, say the word and it's done.
Yes,
Absolutely, we will take care of whatever you need us to do.
absolutely.
Um, we will do what we have to do, what we need to do, what's required of us to do to carry on Charlie's legacy.
Thank you.
And so,
Yeah.
if there's anything that we can do for his family, his immediate family, for his
Mm-hmm.
mom, who he spoke of with glowing
Oh
love
yes.
on this show, always, please let us know and we will help in any way we can.
Mm-hmm.
So, Amelia,
Yes,
there you go. I read it for the whole world.
absolutely. Thank
I'm
you.
going to give you, because you and Charlie were very, very close, I'm going to give you the last word on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you close the show out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, he's always going to be forever in our hearts, and never will he be forgotten to anyone. And he was always, to me, he was a big teddy bear, conspiracy theorist teddy bear. And like I said, he'll never be forgotten.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely not. Charlie, fly with the
See,
Eagles, brother. We
We
love
love you,
you
All
man.
right,
like,
now,
and we miss you.
like he did this to me. Mwah.
thank you.
On behalf of Wrestling with the Future Radio Network, WWTF Radio, on behalf of What's the Buzz podcast, our hearts go out to the Norris family. This one's for Charlie.